I believe I did talk about this in an earlier video I made, but considering that the most recent videos on Philadelphia have been pertaining to Philadelphia culture, I think it's important to have a video dedicated on the influence of black culture and Philadelphia culture, as uh, Philadelphia is over 40% African American, making them the largest ethnic group in Philadelphia. Obviously, they form a significant part of Philadelphia culture. Unfortunately, as far as uh, food, um, there's nothing to the level of fame in terms of like a name that's recognized all over, like such as like a Angelo's Pizzeria for their cheesesteaks, or like uh, Pat's Geno's, Jim's Steaks, Alessandro's, John's Roast Pork. There's unfortunately nothing to that level for African American cuisine or soul food, but there is, at least locally well known. It's called South Jazz Kitchen. So they have live jazz and southern or soul food served. Pretty reputable and well liked locally. And there's plenty of other small mom and pop soul food shops, soul food restaurants in and around Philadelphia. Uh, there were major contributions to music from people from Philadelphia. You have Meek Mills from Philadelphia, the rapper Eve. Uh, there's The Roots, so Black Thought and Questlove uh, met in school in Philadelphia. There's also, so Will Smith is from Philadelphia, and there, um, as far as black contribution to music, uh, perhaps not as well known among younger people, but Philadelphia Soul was a big thing. There was the Gamble and Huff uh, recording company. It was a black run recording production company, and they created the Philadelphia sound, the Philadelphia Soul sound, which is often credited as the predecessor to disco music. I mean, so yeah, when you think disco, oftentimes you don't think soul, but Philadelphia soul, there is characteristics of it that led to the disco sound. Uh, there's famous songs from that period. You have uh, "Ain't No Stopping Us Now" by Whitehead, and forget that it was a duo, but "Ain't No Stopping Us Now." It was a Gamble and Huff production. Um, Teddy Pendergrass was from Philadelphia. The OJs were from Philadelphia, and there's a number of Gamble and Huff associated acts that made up the Philadelphia soul sound. Um, there, there were famous NBA basketball players from Philadelphia. Wilt Chamberlain, the only NBA player to ever score 100 points in an NBA game. He was born in Philadelphia in the 1930s, so his parents came over to Philadelphia during the first Great Migration period during World War One, a time where, due to limited immigration from Europe during World War One, and probably also many working-age white people having to fight in the war, it created demand for workers from the South, and many African Americans came escaping the racial violence and um, racism in the South. So unfortunately, once they got to Philadelphia and other northern cities, they still faced discrimination. So they may have been hired during World War One and Two, but once the white workers came back, many of them lost their jobs and weren't offered or weren't able to get the better paid jobs, and were basically shut out of unions. Um, so there's that history, um, perhaps like influencing the black culture in Philadelphia, including the music, uh, and general black culture. Uh, and there was a book. Um, yeah, Black Thought. He came up with a memoir. I listened to an interview he did. So he describes like people in Philadelphia having like a special level of grit, um, due to needing it to survive in Philadelphia. Particularly with the Black Philadelphia experience, as I said, they faced um, one of the largest migration or growth of the black population happened between 1910 and 1970. For most of that period, they weren't able to get the best paid jobs. They were often first, last hired, first fired, particularly like they may have been hired to break up union strikes, and also to hire during worker shortage time during the World War I and World War II, but otherwise were unable to get the better paid jobs um, when the federal housing laws were passed, making it easier for much suburbanization, many houses being built in the suburbs. Due to housing discrimination, they couldn't move to those areas, and many jobs left the inner cities into the suburbs, and they weren't able to live near the jobs and had difficulty getting to those jobs, and discrimination was still legal. And by the time the Civil Rights Act passed, the urban decline in much of American post-industrial cities have already taken a strong foothold. Uh, Many jobs were lost during that 1950 to 1970s period. Philadelphia's black population had a pretty significant growth up until early 1970s, but they're still over 40% of the Philadelphia population after the white population left after World War II. Um, so that created um, the racial makeup of Philadelphia's neighborhoods today. Uh, a lot of North Philadelphia, West Philadelphia are predominantly African American. More recently, there are white people that left Southwest Philadelphia, and I think today Southwest Philadelphia is predominantly black. And these areas, unfortunately, tend to have higher levels of poverty, unemployment, and crime and associated things with poverty, which was a direct result from the history of discrimination laws. And basically, once discrimination became illegal, they didn't have means to get to where the jobs were. You had to rely on public transit. They may not get you, might be the best way to get to jobs in the suburbs. The jobs that were available don't pay very well. So contributing to, and also the way that public schools or schooling in general works in America. Public school funding comes from largely from property taxes, which is particularly severe in Pennsylvania. And otherwise, you have there's the movement for private school vouchers, but there's no evidence that really private schools perform better than private schools overall don't really perform better than public schools in educating children. A lot of it just has to do with the children's socioeconomic background and ability for parents to support their kids' education. These are the causes of the racial disparities in Philadelphia as well as anywhere else in America. But despite that, You do have like Black Thought, Questlove, Meek Mill, all those folks who, despite their conditions, were able to achieve success. And there's plenty of black entrepreneurs, other black success stories that unfortunately are the exception, not the rule. But I think there is a level of grit, perseverance that comes from that experience. Yes, the black culture has a significant impact on the Philadelphia experience and what Philadelphia offers culturally.